announcements and Councilmember Espinoza to lead us in the invocation.
All stand, please. Remove cover. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Lord, for this day that you've given us, Lord. We thank you for the blessings, Lord, Father God, for the city, Lord. We ask that you be with us as we go through our meeting, guide and direct our path. We ask these things in Jesus' name. And everyone says, amen.
All righty. With that said, I'm going to move for an approval of agenda. No changes.
Please be aware, I received a request from Councilmember Prout to pull item number 10 from the consent calendar, move it to management.
Move. We're going to move that to management report number 1, please. So consent calendar item number 10 will move to management report number 1. No other modifications or changes, sir?
No other changes, modifications.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve in a second for the amended agenda, moving consent calendar item number 10 to management report number 1, please.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Okay. I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Olvera, second by Councilmember Espinoza. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Prout,
Yes.
Olvera,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Given.
Yes. At this time, we're going to move into our public comment. Public comment is for any person wishing to speak on any item included on the agenda or within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. Speakers are invited to speak from the podium and address the City Council. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes unless additional time is needed for translation. Please state your name and address for the record before making your presentation. At this time, public comment is open.
Okay. Buenas tardes a la mesa de los miembros del concilio, señor Lance. Buenas tardes, como dije, mi nombre es Refugio Valencia. Hace algunas semanas estuve aquí con ustedes, donde estuve hablando de lo que es el asunto del agua en el jardín comunitario que está atrás de la Escuela Sequoia.
Saying good afternoon, council members and city manager. His name is Refugio Valencia. He was here a couple weeks ago talking about the water problem at the community garden behind Sequoia Elementary School.
La razón por la que estoy aquí otra vez es porque quiero seguir platicando el asunto del agua en el jardín comunitario. Yo creo que pues queremos insistir en que el proyecto siga hasta la fecha como ha venido creciendo.
He's here tonight to speak about the same issue. He's insisting that the project continue as it has been going, and I think he just wants to emphasize the importance of the water problem that they're facing at the community garden.
Quiero seguir mencionándolo porque en la actualidad en esta área, más bien en lugar de cortar proyectos comunitarios como el que tenemos aquí en la comunidad de Shafter, más bien estamos corriendo la voz para que haya más proyectos como este, digamos aquí en el condado de Kern.
Yeah, he's saying that instead of cutting these type of projects or reducing funding, they need to be uplifted and encouraged.
Como hemos mencionado en el pasado, pues este proyecto está basado en cómo podemos apoyar a nuestra comunidad. En este caso, por cómo se está transformando la situación económica en nuestras comunidades, pues se me hace que esta es una razón más para seguir apoyando este proyecto.
Because of the good that this would do for the community and because of economic constraints, he does think that this is something that should be supported.
Y pues el apoyo que estamos buscando es cómo podemos cambiar la situación de economía a salud, porque el propósito de este proyecto comunitario es producir comida lo más libre de químicos posible. Y como les he mencionado, existe la posibilidad de crecer ahí para traer la comida que se produce ahí a las escuelas obviamente de aquí de la comunidad de Shafter, pero si sobra, distribuirlas en el condado todavía.
Yeah, so they're looking to be a source that produces healthy food and contribute to the overall health of the community. And so they think that there should be an economic shift to supporting these type of local grassroots community organizations and their efforts.
Pues con eso termino mi comentario. Ojalá que encuentren las razones suficientes para seguir apoyando este proyecto y pues seguimos adelante.
Gustaría pedirles que sea algo cuantitativo, no sé, porque
No,
sería todo.
sería
Es
todo.
nomás por información.
Sí.
Okay, muy bien. Yeah. He just hopes that they can continue to be supported. Muy bien.
Gracias.
Thank you. Okay, any other individual wishing to speak for public comment? Hello?
To lower it. Good evening. My name is Natalia Ospina. I'm the legal director with the Center on Race Poverty and the Environment, colleague of Refugio. I'm here to echo his comments to really urge the city council to continue supporting the Shafter Community Garden by providing water access at no cost. The Shafter Community Garden is a nonprofit program. It's run largely by volunteers and is open to all Shafter residents. It really is an investment by the city of Shafter into the future of its residents and the health of its residents. Last month, we had our legal interns from the Bay Area come down to do a tour of various places, including the community garden. And this was like their favorite place to visit. And so when they heard about this, they did want to document the reflections, their impressions of visiting the garden, and documented that in a letter that I'd like to distribute. And then I want to read a few excerpts from their letter just to share a little bit of what they wanted to share because they couldn't join the meeting today. Dear Shafter City Council, we are a group of interns spending our summer with the Center on Race, Poverty, and the Environment, and recently had the opportunity to visit the Shafter Community Garden. Although we're unable to attend today's meeting, we wanted to share a few reflections from our visit to this remarkable space. The garden left a lasting impression on all of us. We were truly inspired by its bounty, abundance, and vitality. It is so much more than a place to grow produce. It's a vibrant, productive space that clearly reflects the hard work, care, and collaboration of the Shafter community. From the moment we stepped into the garden, it was evident how deeply this space is valued and nurtured by those who use it. The community garden creates a space where local families can grow and harvest fresh, healthy food, something especially meaningful to those facing limited access to affordable, nutritious options. This garden supports the health and well-being of over a dozen families by providing consistent access to fresh produce, which they rely on for meals throughout the year. Even in the off-season, families preserve their produce by freezing it, extending the benefits beyond the growing months. By growing a portion of the food that they need to live on, these families gain a sense of food security that's difficult to come by in the face of rising grocery costs. Supporting the garden is also consistent with the City of Shafter's Charter, Section 4-7. The provision of parks and recreational facilities is a high community priority and an indicator of residents' quality of life. The garden directly supports this goal. Although not formally designated as a park, it provides recreation, mental and physical health benefits, and environmental benefits similar to those of a park. It offers residents an accessible, inclusive, and low-cost way to enjoy the outdoors, build relationships, and improve their health. Additionally, the City of Shafter's general plan directs the city to provide ample area for the conduct of public business and the operation of individual institutions within the community, reinforcing Shafter's vision of a community that values civic involvement. The garden also directly supports this goal, providing a physical space for an individual institution open to the public that engages community members. In short, just to reiterate, I really urge, echo Refugio's comments. I hope you will really listen to the community members that are also here today, participate in the garden and wish to uplift the importance of this to their health, to their, quality of life, and that you continue investing in the garden. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Anyone else for public comment? Okay, hearing none. No, yes, by all means, please.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Luis Casablanca y
His name's Luis Casablanca. Good afternoon.
ah, yo estoy aquí porque yo soy el que trabajo la tierra y si no tengo agua, si hay un costo, no tengo cómo pagarlo. Entonces, me gustaría que nos siguieran ayudando con agua gratis. Es bonito trabajar la tierra porque sabe uno cómo cultiva uno sus vegetales orgánicos.
Yeah, Luis is saying that he's one of the ones who specifically works on the land. He toils it, he helps cultivate it, and he really wants to emphasize the importance of having water access at no cost. It really is something beneficial.
Y antemano le doy las gracias que nos han ayudado con agua gratis y quisiéramos seguir igual. Esperamos seguir así por muchos años. Chapter es grande. He estado aquí por mucho tiempo.
He also wants to extend his heartfelt thanks for the support that the city has provided up until now for, the free water access. He thinks that chapter is big and it's growing, and he just appreciates the many years that he's been able to be a part of the community and work on this project.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Okay, any other public comment at this time? Okay, hearing none, seeing none. At this time, public comment is closed. We are going to move into our council announcements and reports. We will start with you, Councilmember Alvarado.
Thank you. I just had a couple real quick. First of all, I just want to say thank you to Lance and his staff, those that were involved in adding more light to the Veterans Hall. So all your staff, Lance, the community appreciates all the hard work and putting more lights out there around the Veterans Hall. Also, we did have a community event, Stuff the Bus, on the 26th of July, and it was very successful. And it was only successful because all of you participated one way or another, and that's what made it successful. And as you all know, all the proceeds or everything that we got, all the school supplies goes to the chapter Healthy Start, which was called chapter Healthy Start, is called now Chapter Resource Center. And they work with the Richmond School District, and it's also open for the community. So anybody from the community may need the school supplies. They're welcome to go and get some school supplies from them as well. Also, just real quick, there's going to be another big event for the community to benefit from. It's going to be a food giveaway, a food distribution with the partners of Chapter Resource Center, and also with the Lions Club, and also with the Lidia's Campesino. We were able to get a semi trailer, about like a 40-foot semi trailer, refrigerated, coming from LA area. Has about 26 pallets of fruits, and we've already got about 60 members, 60 volunteers, over 60 volunteers to help out because it's a pretty big operation. And it's going to be held at the Sequoia Elementary in their parking lot on Fresno. So it's going to be this Saturday, starting at 7 o'clock. And then maybe someone could say that in Spanish as well.
7 a.m.?
7 in the morning, yes. And it's going to last to about 10. So if somebody could just share that in Spanish.
Don't look at me. You all looked my way. Like I'm going to help you on that one.
I apologize. My mind was somewhere else. Could you repeat the event?
It's a community food distribution at Sequoia Elementary at 7 a.m.
Yes. Okay.
And there are, am I getting my bearings right? 26 pallets of fresh fruits that are going to be distributed that day. Saturday, the 9th
The
of
9th.
August.
Va a haber una distribución de comida, gratuita el día sábado, en la escuela de Sequoia, en la primaria. Van a haber 26 paletas de comida. Si quieren ir a recibir o ayudar con esa distribución, si quieren compartir esa información con la comunidad, por favor, gracias.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's it.
That's it. I'm done.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Pratt.
Yes, I attended the soft opening on July the 19th for ribbon cutting at Pack and Ship. It was well attended locally as well as other friends and family and other elected people. And it was really nicely done. I was happy to be there and participate in it and welcome Pete and your family to the business.
Thank you.
On the 21st, the Shafter PD had a promotional ceremony and I was able to attend, and we had 6 sworn officers and had badge pinning for those that advanced and promoted, and as well as 2 non-sworn officers, or I'm sorry, non-sworn personnel that were advanced. Also, we recognized the Officer of the Year. Oh gosh, what's his first name, Mar?
Christian Segudo.
Sakudo, yes. Yeah, it was really exciting to be able to attend and to congratulate those people. Then on July the 28th, we had our Deputy Finance oath of office. Were you planning to introduce him too? Yeah,
We'll do that here shortly.
yeah. Okay, well, I was able to attend for you're gonna have to help us with your name. Israel. Oh, you're gonna make it easy. Israel Perez. And then yesterday we had an oath of office for a Shafter PD officer that has come to us from the San Diego area, Jose Flores. So we welcome all of our new people. That's all I had.
Very good. Councilmember Espinoza.
On the 19th, I was there for the soft opening for the Shafter Pack and Ship. It was a great turnout. My family was there, so I really appreciate the support and everything. And we're looking for good things to happen from that. On the 22nd, I attended the curriculum elements decision discussion. On the 23rd, I attended the car wash for the grand opening for the Countryside Car Wash, and that was a nice event. It was nice to see the car wash get kicked off with their grand opening. I know they've been postponing that for a while, so I'm glad to see that happening. And 28th, I attended an oath of office for Israel Perez, and I'd like to say welcome aboard, Israel. On the 30th, I had a meeting with Kamal, the economic developer for the city of Shafter, and it was a time to get to meet him a little bit better and ask him some questions and get to see what his understanding is for his plan for the city. So I appreciate his time. And on Monday, I attended the oath of office for Jose Flores. I understand he's a transfer from San Diego. So I would like to welcome him to the police department, and I wish him nothing but good fortunes, and that's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much. Mayor Pro Tem Olvera.
I don't have anything.
Needs a quick water. Okay, with that said, we will move into our consent calendar. This evening on consent calendar, there are 10 items I apologize, 9 items. Item number 10 has been moved to management report, so my apologies. I'm going to do a brief read through of said items. Item number 1 is to approve the general checks. Number 2 is to approve payroll. Number 3, approving the overtime report. Number 4 is the approval of minutes. Number 5, introduced for second reading by title only and waive reading and adopt ordinance number 769, approving zone code amendment number 25-22. Number 6, also introduced for second reading, waive reading and adopt ordinance 770, which is the adoption of enforcement procedures for violations of council governance norms and protocols. Item number 7 is to adopt resolution 3032, approving the filing of TDA Article 4 claim for fiscal year 2023-2024. Number 8 is to adopt resolution 3033, approving the execution and filing of a Transit Development Act Article 8 claim for fiscal year 2023 and 2024. Number 9 is to approve a new 3-year small government enterprise license agreement, making the initial payment of $42,200 to ESRI, Environmental System Research Institute. And then item number 10 again was moved to management report. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Otherwise, I'm looking for a motion and a second on said items.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Alvarado, a second by Councilmember Prout. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Alvarado?
Yes.
Prout?
Yes.
Olvera?
Yes.
Espinoza?
Yes.
And Gibbon.
Yes. Excuse me. This evening, we have one item on the docket for our public hearings. It is for tentative tract map number 7464. Alan, you've spent a lot of time up here today. You're doing good, sir.
Thank you, thank you. I apologize again for earlier.
You're good.
All righty. All righty, so tonight's item is for tentative tract map number 7464. Next slide, please. So this is the fourth and final Lennar Homes residential subdivision within the Mission Lake specific plan area. They are proposing 324 low-density single-family homes and 2 public parks for a total of 24.5 acres of parkland. The proposed tract is located 3/4 of a mile north of 7 Standard Road to the west of Marcona Preserve and Gossamer Grove specific plan areas. Next slide. This slide shows the general layout of the tract design. The proposed map is consistent with the design standards and guidelines of the Mission Lake specific plan. Thank you. Under the California Subdivision Map Act, the city is required to approve a tentative map if certain findings are met. At this time, the map is in compliance with all of the local and state requirements for map approval. At this time, staff recommends that the city council adopt resolution number 3034, approving tentative tract map number 7464 as shown in Exhibit A, subject to the findings and the attached conditions of approval provided in Exhibit B. I kept it shorter this time since we've done so many of them.
I was really impressed with that. I'm not going to lie. That was quick.
Yeah.
All right. With that said, this is a public hearing for a tentative tract map number 7464. At this time, public hearing is open. Questions, comments, or concerns in regards to it? Okay, with that said, public hearing is closed. Wow. Council, questions, comments, or concerns? Okay, hearing none, seeing none, I need a motion in a second, please.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Olvera, second by Councilmember Alvarado. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Alvarado?
Yes.
Prout?
Yes.
Olvera?
Yes.
Espinoza?
Yes.
And Gibbon.
Yes, that is our only public hearing item for this evening. We'll move into our management report items. The first management report item will be the item moved from consent calendar number 10, which is authorization to install the stop signs at the intersection of James Street and Sunset Avenue. And Councilmember Prout, I'm going to look to you for the reason of pulling.
I wanted to have some discussion.
Okay, I just making sure we have clarity on what it is.
I'd be happy to give you a little background.
By all means.
Honorable Mayor, members of the Shafter City Council, Michael James, Director of Public Works. In response to concerns raised by the council and the public about pedestrian safety at James Street in front of the Learning Center, Public Works conducted an always stop sign warrant at the intersection of Sunset. And while there was one vehicle on pedestrian incident a few months ago, accident data alone does not justify an always stop. However, considerations that led to the recommendation for an always stop include street parking on both sides of the streets, limiting or restricting the line of sight for Sunset traffic pulling onto James Street. And there's a consistent mix of vehicular and pedestrian traffic throughout the day, any given day, not just for the Learning Center, but we have the church And we have at times school pickup and drop off that kind of overflows into James Street. And then there would be consistency with most of the intersections that we have downtown that are always stops. An alternative to the always stop is prohibiting street parking in front of the Learning Center, but we view this as a less desirable outcome. The parking lot at the Learning Center is very limited, as you probably know, and the parking restrictions would be difficult to consistently enforce. And then relocating street parking a block or two away would make access to the Learning Center less convenient, certainly. So, but Public Works is open to questions and coming back with alternatives at a future meeting if that's the desire of the council. And that concludes the background on the staff report.
Thank you very much, Mike. Councilmember Prout.
So you're already suggesting that we have a discussion on it? You said to come back later?
No,
If you
he's at-
desire alternative action. We could definitely bring something back.
Okay, well, because I, first of all, I have a hard time with stop lights or stop signs. And second of all, you can go down there and have a stop sign and pull out and you're still gonna be obscured from someone jumping out between the cars. Because the cars are stacked in there. There's no visibility even 20 feet from the corner, which now, if we were to put in an ordinance following AB 413, would allow 20 feet of clearance just even at the intersection, which might open up some. I just believe that we haven't posted it. We haven't had signs posted up there to warn that there's additional children in the area to get people to slow down. I mean, it bothers me to just place stop signs up when we could do some of these other events. If nothing else, even eliminating have a drop off and a pickup zone, that's another alternative. I mean, I understand there's young children during the day, there's during the school hours increase with the school traffic too. I would like to see us discuss it and see if we can do some better improvements for the safety of everybody that's down in that area. Maybe even informing the parents how they're responsible to hold on to that child.
I believe there was discussion about this at a previous council meeting. Yes, sir?
Yes, you guys had asked about the event and then potential for mitigating measures.
So I know we've discussed, I understand the I'm gonna use disinterest in putting a stop sign there. But I do actually agree with Public Works here. I think that serves as the best idea to put in that area. I don't think school traffic is going to decrease by any means. I think it's only going to continue to increase. I think the foot traffic is quite large and various times throughout the day. And to be honest with you, knock on wood, I'm grateful this hasn't happened before, but I am also very surprised it hasn't happened before. So
But it has. We've had children out there as well as parents having to jump out to grab them.
correct, but not to the degree that this last one has happened. So I for one am for putting that there specifically in that area. I think it does warrant it. Let's say that right.
I didn't
So-
say to eliminate stop signs.
Correct, just not to
Putting
add the
them-
two there.
No. We can still have the stop signs, but I think it's important to even have more mitigation measures in there because you're not gonna be able to still see a child that jumps out between the cars.
So
It's still very crowded in there.
I travel, I go there because my son attends the junior high school, so I see firsthand the foot traffic and the vehicles that travel through there. And then after learning about the incident, I think I'm the one that brought up the issue as far as looking into it to see if there was something that could be done, whether it's signage or lighting going across, I believe it's James Street. It's pretty wide. There is no stop sign from Shafter Avenue. I believe the first stop sign is on Central. You do have the dips, but there's no controlled intersections there, so the traffic does travel pretty at high speeds. And kids tend to not look both ways and they just run out. I think that the stop sign would create or be a measure that would get the drivers to stop. At least it would be at slower speeds and be able to at least see if these kids are darting out, especially with the Learning Center being there at the corner and the amount of foot traffic that they have been gaining throughout the last few months and stuff. I've seen the numbers and it's just only increasing. And I think it's going to continue to increase as they're there. So I'm in support of it as well, so that's all I have.
Didn't know if there's any other further conversation on this, council, or if you're,
So you don't want to see anything else besides just stop signs?
I think the stop signs would be the
Sufficient.
sufficient.
Mike, are there signs there, the
Yeah.
kids crossing, or are there signs there at the crosswalks right now where the library is? Or is that more towards the school?
Councilmember Espinoza, I don't think we have crosswalk ahead
Warning of children.
or even like that. You don't tend to see the warning children at play or those type of signs in use much. I mean, I could look into the background behind that, but no, currently, no, we don't.
Okay.
See, my other thought is just to take away even 2 of the parking spaces there that would allow more visibility as you come up to James from Sunset.
And we looked at multiple scenarios with respect to parking. We eliminated parking spots and we even rotated the parking 90 degrees, so it wasn't coming at it 45 degrees. But every time we applied the city's standard line of sight requirement, we had obstacles preventing adequate line of sight. So we feel like the best way to have line of sight is to have traffic stop at the intersection.
if any other questions or comments on this, by all means, say now, but
I don't object to the stop signs. I don't like stop signs for every corner, but I don't object to the stop signs. Let's have that clear. It's just that I think we need to have more if we're really concerned about the safety of the children that are coming.
We'll add stop signs and signage, do
And,
both.
well, and then even eliminate
Maybe the lighting that goes across the street whenever the kids are crossing. the-
something that just brings it out to attention of
Could do that.
everybody. It just has to have more if we're really concerned about the safety.
I think so. I think it's worthwhile doing it.
The lights that we put on Tulare, you can really see those. I mean, when they go off, it's not like, oh, I didn't see the lights, you see them. So, I would like that approach. I would probably favor that approach versus the stop sign, because how far are you from,
Shafter,
Shafter Avenue?
probably a few 100 feet.
Yeah, because you're already slowing down for that intersection. And then to make everybody stop versus stopping when there's kids there, that would be a difference in my opinion. Instead of everybody stopping at a stop sign, you would only stop there when look at the crosswalks when you see the lights flashing.
There's certainly technology that will enhance safety, but some of it tends to be pretty finicky and you does need batteries go out. The solar capabilities are limited sometimes. So there would be some potential outages for that type of technology. Which is why we were kind of erring on the side of caution with the traditional four-way, all-way stop intersection. But we could add to that warning beacons, things like that, that could make it even better.
Okay.
okay, with that said, the current request on the table is to install it's 2 additional stop signs in this location to make it a 4-way stop. With that said, I'm going to entertain a motion to, let me get my agenda report out properly here. I'm going to entertain a motion that the council authorize the installation of stop signs at the intersection of James Street and Sunset Avenue to establish an always stop intersection as recommended in the stop sign warrant report approved by Public Works Director.
But we could add to that motion?
You can add to that motion. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, and I think we should.
So I'll leave there. I give you the base. At that
Mhm.
point, if you would like to do something more, by all means, please do so.
And then make
Yes.
your addition to it.
Pardon me?
You can make the motion to approve and then
Yeah,
provide direction
add
to
the
staff
other
as to what
one.
else you want.
and add some additional warning signs in there.
Or
whether it's-
investigate.
Investigate, yes.
We can certainly do the investigation
Yeah,
first.
I
and
think
see
it's
if
important.
that's warranted as
I
well.
mean, the safety is the most important, so.
Just so I'm on the same page. So approval of the stops plus add investigation to additional signage in the area. So I have a motion to approve stop signs plus adding additional investigation for the area, to investigate the area for additional signage. Do I have a second on that?
I don't know, but to me, I think the hardest part was getting the 4-way stop, so yes.
Okay, so I think I heard it. Okay, So I have a motion by Councilmember Prout, a second by Councilmember Alvarado. You have that?
Yeah.
Okay, you can go back and listen to it later if you need to.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Prout,
Yes.
Olvera,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Gibbon.
Yes, the thing is, I don't have that, so let me mark that here real
It's
quick.
not a big deal. It's 4 weeks stop and investigate further.
I didn't mark everything properly, so hold on. Thank you. Okay, on to our management report, item number 2. This is the utility billing senior discount program. And at this time,
Mayor Given, my apologies. You're gonna look at.
oh, man,
Yeah.
you're right, my fault. Item number 1/2 is the resolution adoption for purchase of 185 Central Avenue, Shafter, California. I'm allowed one mistake, right? So I can't have any more. Sir,
Well, good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the Shafter City Council. I'm Giovanni Perez, your Economic Development Coordinator, and tonight I'm presenting a recommendation to authorize the purchase of 0.17 acre parcel located at 185 Central Avenue, and also to adopt Resolution 3035, which would authorize the city manager's designee, Kamal Siada, your Economic Development Director, to execute the purchase and sale agreement and all necessary documents to execute the transaction. But before going further, I want to clarify up front. The item tonight is strictly about proving the property purchase. It is not a commitment to a specific project or development at this time. Only property purchase. So with that, now we can continue with, as discussed in closed session in May, staff was directed by council to obtain an appraisal and begin negotiations. And with that appraisal, coming back with the fair market value of $80,000, the landowner was receptive of that price and accepted to sell the property for $80,000 to the city as is. Now, the parcel at 185 Central Avenue is zoned downtown commercial and was identified by staff as a strategic opportunity to enhance flexibility in our downtown corridor. Now, post-acquisition, this site could support a number of potential uses such as small footprint commercial opportunities, mobile food vendors or pop-up event space, public gathering space, and yes, parking, which aligns with prior feedback and direction from the Central Avenue Business Walk and Parking Survey conducted earlier in January of this year. Now, to reiterate, approving this purchase does not commit the city to any of these options just mentioned today. This is simply about securing the property and preserving flexibility for future council direction and community serving uses in our downtown corridor. Now, with that, staff recommends approval of the purchase and sale agreement, adoption of Resolution 3035, and lastly, authorization of a budget adjustment to the general fund for this fiscal year 2025 through 2026 in the amount of $90,000 to accommodate for estimated closing, title, and escrow fees. We are happy to answer and address any comments. Thank you.
all right, council, questions, comments, or concerns in regards to the purchase of 185 Central Avenue?
Just based on this map right here that we have, that's what we're gonna use it for. The idea, could be an idea.
It's an idea, it's a
An idea.
conceptual idea. It is not what is,
Yeah, but.
in this conversation, that is not what we're
Yeah.
approving to use it for. It's just conceptual idea of what could.
Conceptual of a best case scenario if we go the parking lot route.
It's a no-brainer, yes.
Are you putting a no, that's fine. Are
I'll
you-
make a motion.
Oh, you're already
to
making a
accept
motion.
it.
Okay, real quick, any other questions or comments or concerns on this? I'm gonna make sure we're okay. So I have a motion to move for purchase. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Alvarado, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Olvera. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Prout,
No.
Olvera,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Gibbon.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. Now I'm in the right place. Management report, item number 2 is our utility billing senior discount program. And prior to starting, Roger, I am going to ask for 2 council members to recuse themselves for this conversation due to being potentially selected as someone who would receive these benefits in said conversation.
Mr. Mayor, if it's okay, I'd like to introduce a new employee and then.
Yeah, let's do that. Have the introduction of new employee and then we'll start this. I'll reread this again, just
Thank you
for the
very much.
record.
Mr. Mayor, council members, good evening. Roger Sanchez, Finance Director. Before we start with the senior discount program, I would like to introduce Israel Perez Hernandez, who is the new Deputy Finance Director. I had the privilege of working with him in the past, and I'm well acquainted with his strong work ethic, skills, and really his integrity. He brings 10 years of experience in local government, including time as a finance director at the city of Wasco, where he implemented nationally recognized awards in budgeting and financial reporting. He holds a bachelor's degree in accounting from CSUB. He's a certified municipal treasurer, and he's working towards completing a master's in public administration from University of Southern California. He's dedicated to transparency, efficiency, and community services, which makes him a great asset in this community. Israel cares deeply about his coworkers, community, and family. In the past, he has volunteered as a high school coach in high school in Delano. He's a proud father, husband, and a brother. He has a boy and a girl, Camila, who is 4 years old, and Mateo, who is 1.5 years old. And I'd like to thank council members for supporting this and the city manager for the support on this addition. With that, if Israel is going to give a few words, and then he's going to discuss the program.
Thank you. Thank you, council members. I do want to say before we start, to put a taser for me to not speak a lot, so it'll stop me. So I'll try to keep it brief. So I do want to thank the council for supporting Lance, our city manager, and Roger for bringing me on board and having the faith that I can contribute not only to the finance department, but public works, economic development, the building, on a finance matter. And also, the one thing I do want to share is, as Roger took me around the departments, I was welcomed with open arms. In fact, there was even staff members that offered to show me how their areas connected with finance so that we can communicate in their areas. I met with our city clerk as to how agendas need to come together. So all those pieces is refreshing, rewarding to see that and that camaraderie across departments. But with that, I feel like I got zapped already. So I'm kidding. I told you I was gonna say something.
It's always the finance ones who like to talk. I've learned that. Sorry, Roger, I went there.
Okay.
Well, it's good having you here with us. Very, very good having Roger is great people. And to keep up with his pace and his pivot tables, it's going to take somebody special.
Yes.
Just letting you know.
They can get very complex, but we'll work through it.
Thank you. Okay, now with that said, before we start, once again, I'm going to ask for the 2 council members, Espinoza and Prout, to recuse themselves for being potentially beneficiaries of said discussion.
I thought you were gonna give the ages.
Huh?
I thought you were gonna give the ages.
No, I'm being as gentle as I can. He just threw you into the fire on this one too.
I
didn't he?
know. I was thinking that
Didn't even give you a chance to breathe. Just
on
here
the
you are.
first week. Oh, we have the staff report ready and resolution. Are you ready? Okay, let's do it. Well, let's see how we do. So, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, before you this evening is a continuation of an informational item that was presented before you on July 15th by our Finance Director with a possible consideration of implementing a possible senior discount program for our senior community. Now, throughout this presentation, I aim to touch on 4 key points. Those is going to be to provide alternatives for the city council's consideration that not only provide a meaningful financial relief to our seniors that are on a fixed income, as well as providing the city council's commitment towards efficiency, affordability, and the support of our senior community in the city of Shafter. So after July 15th, there was already surveys done of neighboring communities, special districts. So throughout the survey, we started to put in some graphs where we were starting to display the information. Now, here we started to notice some trends of what were some of the items that were appearing in some of these programs, where some of the cities, we decided to just hone in a little bit closer to home and a little farther away, see some of those trends. For example, if we have the city of Delano, they provide a 15% financial relief across the board for their water, their wastewater, and their refuse. And on the age portion, it's 60 and plus. Same for the city of Fresno. Again, we can see that it's offered only on two services. On the flip side, for the city of Wasco, it's only on the water portion, not on other services, and that is a 30%. We also did come across agencies where they provide a fixed dollar amount. Now, fixed dollar amount has its pros and cons, which we'll discuss in a future slide. But for sake of time, those are some of the surveys that we conducted just to try to get an overview of the program and how they work. Now, through these surveys and seeing the type of applications, we realized that there's averages in terms of age. The most common one was 60 plus. There were others where it was 62, it was 65, but again, the common theme was 60 plus. We also saw that the applicant, the senior, had to reside in that property, must provide proof of ownership. They had to be the primary holder of the utility account. And lastly, actively participate in, for example, PG&E, their care program. Now, so those are some of the qualifications that became trends as we started conducting the survey. Now, what would an impact look like for the city of Shafter? So if we were to take only one senior that qualified for the program on the water utility service. Currently, the monthly rate is $48.70 for the service charge. If a council was to elect either a 20, 25, or 30%, you can see what the discount would look like, ranging from $9 all the way to $14. But if we were to say, well, this program actually created traction, we have 550 customers, senior customers. That would result in a $64,000 to $96,000 commitment to the water fund. Now, why did we elect the water fund? We'll discuss that in a future slide. So there's three options at the moment for council's consideration. A would be a 20% commitment. B would be a 25%, and C would be a 30%. So staff's recommendation is option C. Option C would provide a 30% discount to our senior community that meets the qualifications such as age 60 plus, actively participate in the PG&E program, reside in the home, provide proof of ownership, and be a utility account holder of a utility service. Well, why the water? Why not the refuse versus the wastewater? The water is the highest utility out of all three bills. It provides the highest financial relief to our residents. And lastly, it's not a fixed cost in terms of usage. The user has control at the knob of what that additional cost would look like. So those are some of the considerations why water would be more of a benefit in terms of versus your wastewater and your refuse. And also, this is also an investment into the dedication and the quality of life for our commitment towards our senior community here in the city of Shafter. Now, having said that, I will then turn it over to the council for questions, concerns, doubts, worries.
Gentlemen, questions, comments, or concerns?
I have one. How much would this require more staff to manage over the course of time? And is there any like potential budget impacts on, employee, salaries or bringing in extra part-time employees for this to manage it or anything like that?
So, would you like? So the brief discussions that the finance director and I have had is this is a new program. I've been informed that in the past, there's been temporary staff that's been brought on board for special projects. Now, those are some form of commitments because given that it's a new program, it's no different than when we had to manage ARPA funding or CARES funding, where it has special criteria. And is this something that's going to be ongoing? Because every year there would have to be a resurface of this conversation, whether the council is in favor of continue to support this program for the upcoming budget year. But to answer your question, it would be more of a
Yes, council member. So the commitment would be within the water fund. We wouldn't use the general fund money to pay the employee. Now, we have used temporary assistance like Israel mentioned on the LEWAP assistance, on the ARPA and all those things, as I already mentioned, on a temporary basis. And then we remove that extra. One of the things, in addition to the senior discount, is that we have transitioned from flat rate on the water usage into meters. And that has increased. So we have all accounts on meters now in the city court. With that, it brings a lot of exceptions with older meters as we're trying to replace. It has brought a lot of workload in the office on manual exceptions on issues with reads. So the Public Works Department is working heavily on replacing all the bad meters. But with that, we're very busy on meter reads, fixing issues with that, and also with this new program as well. So that would be the reason why we recommend a part-time on a temporary basis.
Okay. And one other question. Would the participants have to apply to qualify yearly, or is it once they receive the benefit, it's going to stay until there's a change in the household or anything like that? Or how does that work?
I will ask, what's the practice in
Yes.
other?
So the practice that's been in other neighboring cities and through the survey, it's an annual process just to confirm that you are still residing in the property and you're not renting the property just to receive that benefit. Event you're renting, will you receive that benefit? So it would be more of an annual recertify that you're the property owner, that you reside in that property, that you do meet the criteria such as you're still part of the CARES program, you're actively participating. So yes, it would.
And just clarification, it's homeowners only, or is it for like people who are renting or leasing an apartment or a home as well?
So this program and all the other programs that we surveyed, it's the property owner is the senior that is applicant.
So let's take Shafter Manor, right? Because Shafter Manor is built more for the older community. They're paying water for their facility, but they're not owning that facility. They're renting it technically, but they're renting it on a fixed income. So that's a really unique conversation. If we have pockets of housing or facilities like that, how do you guys manage that? Because
Yeah.
you're probably gonna get more of a fixed income group of people there than you will in some other areas, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Even there, even though too, I mean, if they're renting a home, you know, I mean, it's not theirs, but if you have a person 60 and older, how, you know, could they potentially qualify with a rental agreement showing, hey, I'm the person that resides here, I'm responsible for the, you know, to pay the rent or or cover the lease, and then they have their utilities, would that be an option that we could explore as far as that? Because I think if we just strictly focus on homeowners, we're gonna have a lot of our community that aren't gonna be able to benefit from this. And if that's the purpose behind it, we need to make sure that we're actually opening it up to those that need it, you know?
No, and absolutely, we do appreciate the feedback that's being provided, because just because other jurisdictions do it a certain way does not mean we have to do the same exact thing. So as this discussion, it actually brings to light additional ways that how would Shafter would like to do it moving forward.
Yeah.
And it's not something set in stone, but it's just to start the program. If we're considering tenants with lease agreements and they are utility accounts, those are things that can be discussed.
You're showing two extremes, right?
Right.
1 versus 550. So the number 550, I know it's not something you just pulled out of thin air. However, is that number of people who meet the criteria has designated here, or is that just the number of current homeowners who meet a specific aspect of that criteria, like age?
Yes, we have looked into the city of Delano, city of Wasco, and they happen to have the exact percentage, which is about 2.5% of the population. It represents the seniors who qualify, so they have that many accounts. So we, because both cities have the same, we would expect also the city of Shafter would have a similar thing.
How many housing units do we have?
Housing units total?
Well, theoretically, that's what we're talking about, right? So if you're telling me 2.5% of 500 homes, that's
You went off of actual billing, correct? Because we don't actually collect billing for water out of Gossamer Grove or any of those.
Yeah, the Castle Grove is a different water district.
And this would also apply to Gossamer Grove though, correct?
No,
No,
It would not.
it would not.
We only control the utilities for the core.
yeah, that's where it's 2,060, 4,500. That's still an inflated number. It's still 5 times the number that it should actually be showing right now. I'm just curious where the 550 came from.
So when the 2.9% that was provided by our finance director, that was extrapolating the Department of Finance population that was released in January of this year, just to try to get an estimate of just on the population side, not on the actual.
Got it. So you may have 2 individuals who meet the same criteria, but they both live under one house. So this isn't based on a house. This is based on a person. The numbers that we're looking at here. I'm just trying to make sure I understand where this is
No,
coming from.
what you're saying is correct. Now, I'll use an example for the city of Wasco. There's about 550 active senior customers that are enrolled in the program. Now, when we took that example and we reached out to the city of Delano, their population is 52,000.
Right.
And when we asked, well, how many of those seniors are enrolled in the program, it turned out to be 897 seniors. So that's just double the population that the city of Wasco had. So given that the program is new here and depending on the traction that it gains, we took a conservative 550. Now, it could be higher, it could be lower. Now, it just depends on whether this is a favorable program and we have traction. This would be something that we would bring back to the council and bring back the feedback in terms of whether, you know, this is something that is gaining traction and our best estimates were off. We underestimated or we overestimated.
It for me, it matters for a few different reasons, because that number is roughly 13% of our housing units. I'm not saying that's an extreme high, it just the 2.5 versus somewhere between 12 and 15% is it's a much different scope, right? And Lance, I'm only doing that based on the idea of the core, not Gossamer, right? So I'm just kind of curious what that looks like. I asked that as well from a financial perspective, because if it's something that makes sense that we can do across all utilities, great. I think there's just still a lot there's a lot of holes in this that I'm still trying to figure out what that looks like. The other thing that kind of concerns me is that we would be adding part-time staff to cover it, albeit I do hear you saying that's going to help with water meters and managing that. But the amount of workload that's going to be consumed in this and you're saying it's going to come out of this enterprise fund, makes me kind of question, gentlemen, is that something that our residents are now having to pay for? Because if the part-time staff is coming out of the enterprise fund, that enterprise fund is funded through the residents' utility. It's not funded through sales tax that residents don't deal with. Does that make sense? So I want to be cautious how we walk that, or am I just off kilter here?
And I believe that's how it's treated in the other jurisdictions as well. So it's typically with those enterprise. What I would say, because the issue we're gonna have on this one is even looking at numbers and everything else, anything that finance, and they've done a great job of drilling it down, anything they produced is gonna be an estimate at this point.
I agree.
What I would suggest is I would cap this at a fiscal cap, run it as a pilot for 1 year to see how many applicants actually put in for it, and then reauthorize and reallocate next year for actual numbers.
And all said and done, I don't have a problem with that. I do question the necessity to have a part-time employee out of the enterprise fund.
I mean, unless there's something that bars us from it, if you guys would like to pay for it out of general fund, you can do that as well, but it's still taxpayer funding either way. You're just paying for it out of an enterprise or not.
It's still taxpayer funded to an extent. Sales tax is a little different than.
Sales and property, yeah. But you're just shifting where you're paying it from. It's the same thing.
I'll agree to disagree on that.
The other thing that we thought about was the potential from feedback that you might have is Customer Grove could be considered for the wastewater portion. We cannot do it for the water because they're on a different district. Now, the wastewater portion for Customer Grove, it's paid through the tax roll and through the Kern County process. And we could apply a discount if you chose to give them some benefit as well, in addition to the water benefit in the core. And yeah,
I think we need to include Gossamer Grove. I think that, and I would say include also, tenants that are renting and leasing properties. Is this for discussion or just a motion to proceed with it and put parameters in place, or what are we doing on this one?
So this one was for authorization to appropriate $100,000 for the general fund to support the senior discount billing program.
Okay.
Feel like it needs to be more of a discussion and get some of these holes plugged.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you. And if you were to flip for this reason, if you were to flip that and say, don't do water, but do sewer and refuge, and that sewer and refuge would cover Shafter as a whole, right, including Gossamer area, would that equate to the same amount monetarily? Right? So me as a person, let's just say we did 30% on water. Great. Let's equate that to $14. If we didn't do 30% on water, but we did 30% on refuge and wastewater,
yes.
would that equate to the same $14?
Yes. So it would be less money, most likely, if we go through the wastewater and sewer and refuse. Keep in mind that we outsource the refuse portion, so I would keep away from that. We contract a company and we get some franchise fees from that. Now it's more clear on the wastewater and the water fund. So if there was to be an interest on the wastewater, that would be acceptable. Now, part of my recommendation is, and it's going to come off a little bit off, but we're having the rate increases coming up soon. Mm-hmm. And so through the practice going forward, starting next year, the residents are going to see the water bill. And whereas the wastewater is going to go through the county process, the tax roll. So yeah, we could theoretically have a combination if you wanted to of water for the core and a discount for for the Customer Grove, or as you wish, it could be a wastewater across City Core and Customer Grove.
But the client or the participants or the people benefiting from this program won't see it monthly like they would if they did it on the water bill because it's on the property tax.
That's exactly right.
Got it. Understood.
Well, I haven't said much, but there's a lot of questions I have. It could be another hour here. I don't want to give you guys another hour, but is there a chance of a workshop or study session?
We can definitely run a workshop or study session. I'm not, you guys, if you can define what you're really looking for.
Well, I just, for example, you start something and you just mentioned right now, you're gonna we're gonna discuss an increase, right? And now you have an increase coming up and you have a discount coming up. If I'm 60-some years old and I have a fixed budget, so I'm gonna bank on this discount. That's gonna be part of my budget. And if you're gonna take it away the following year, now I just got hit again. So I don't know if we want to flirt with that idea, because once you start it, as a senior, I'm gonna depend on that.
Makes sense.
And you take it away, guess what? I'm gonna be upset as a resident, as a 60-some-year-old person. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I was asking for a workshop. Let's think this up through, because right now it seems like we're being pressured, crunched. But I have a lot of questions, but again, I don't want to be here another hour to respect everybody's time. But I want to make a wise decision. There's a lot of questions here. But I'm looking at the bigger picture is, don't tease me with the discount and then you're gonna take it away, me being a senior. That's what I don't want to happen. So.
You're talking through the rate increase, yeah.
Yes, so because I'm a depend on that discount to supplement that increase, but then you're gonna take away the following year, and then now who qualifies? You said 60 years and plus.
Plus the care program.
But what happened now if I'm disabled or go back to if I'm not an owner? There's a lot of these questions we haven't really hashed out.
Sounds like we'll bring this back on workshop.
Yes, please.
If you have questions that you'd like us to predefine and look up for the meeting, please let me know. We'll get that done.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, Roger. I know.
No, that's fine.
Last time we sat here in the room and I just felt like there wasn't something that we can bite into. I feel like we have that something now. And so it gives us a little bit more legroom to talk through this and see what's gonna make sense. We want to do something. I think the most respectful thing we can do is figure out how to do something. The question is, what is that something and does it make the most sense for both sides? You know?
Sure, I understand. And just as a reminder, as a point of reference, some of the seniors, when we had the workshop for the rate increases, they expressed an interest and they mentioned that other cities had a senior discount and they were saying, how come Shafter doesn't have that? So that's the reason why we bring it up.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll bring it up to
Thank you.
workshop. Thank you.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Okay, with that said, we're gonna move into item, that was a table to a workshop for a future date discussion. Marco, I don't think I need to, thank you. Item number 3, the Shafter Aquatic Center Site Improvements Project Award. Hi, Alex.
Should I wait for Lance or?
I think you're okay.
All right, I'll get going. Honorable Mayor, members of the Shafter City Council. So with authorization from the City Council, we recently conducted formal bids for the Shafter Aquatic Center site improvements. So this project includes the items, not the building, so everything outside of that, the sidewalks, parking lot improvements, new water services, sewer services, all those, modifications of the fencings, all the things that go with it. We opened bids on July 18th. We received 3 bids. The lowest responsive bid was submitted by Bowman Asphalt in the amount of $958,960.51. We did receive an additive alternate that item does not factor in when determining lowest bid, but that was to pour some additional or pour concrete in lieu of some asphalt for some parking stalls. At this time, staff's not recommending that based on the costs that came in to complete that work. Bowman has completed numerous projects for us and they're currently working on Santa Fe and they're very good at what they do when it comes to site improvements and paving and concrete and things like that. As a part of this, there was a bid protest that was filed by SMB Sons. They claimed that Bowman did not list a sub for the surveying work. After review, we determined that their claim was without merit because surveying is not required to be listed as a subcontractor because under contract code 4113 doesn't fall under the California licensing requirement for that. So staff is recommending that we overrule that bid protest. So in terms of the project, staff is recommending a total construction budget of $1,100,000 for this project. PF 0004 currently has $3,129,770 allocated. Approximately $2,850,000 that is already committed for things like the modular building, architecture, engineering, demolition, other kind of related improvements to the project. That leaves us with about $280,000 remaining that's allocated. So we will need a budget appropriation from the general fund of $820,230 to fund the proposed construction budget. Just in terms of timeline, the project does have a 90 calendar day allocated to this portion of the project. That will maybe need to move around a little bit depending on coordination with the building and stuff like that. But that's kind of what we're looking at for construction on that.
It can happen in conjunction with the building being.
It will happen in conjunction with the building, but there will be some things that we might have to delay to make sure that if the building comes in, we're not putting it on top of, bringing cranes on top of brand new pavement and things like that. So there will be a little bit of coordination, and they're aware of that. And we're working with our modular building contractor to make sure we're all on the same timelines for when things need to get done. So the recommendation for tonight is to find that the project is exempt from CEQA, accept the 3 bids that were received, overrule the 1 bid protest submitted by SMB Sons Incorporated, and authorize a budget amendment of $820,230 from the general fund to the said project, and authorize the Deputy Public Works Director to issue a notice of award and notice to proceed to Bowman Asphalt Incorporated in an amount up to $1,100,000.
Thank you very much, sir. Questions, comments, or concerns? Otherwise, I'm looking for a motion and a second on said item.
Just a real quick question, going back to the bidding part, the complaint, the file.
Yeah.
The subcontractor for survey work.
Yeah.
So Bowman didn't have it, right? Didn't list it, right?
Yes.
Did S&B list it? The contractor?
They did list one. When it comes to listing subcontractors, there's a couple of requirements. One of them, there's a monetary threshold. So if it exceeds $10,000 or 0.5% of the total bid, then they're supposed to list subcontractors. Now, with that, that only applies to trades and work that is covered by the California State Licensing Board.
Right.
Surveying is not one of those
So,
items.
but if S&B would taken it off, would the bid come in different?
No,
Okay.
because in both cases, they're required to have a surveyor to complete the surveying work. So that it wouldn't have, it's not like Bowman doesn't have one, Bowman has one. It's just, they didn't have to list that that person is a subcontractor.
Yeah, well, yeah, but my just was S&B listed theirs and then the fee was added, that's why it was higher. I was just asking the question, if they had removed theirs, the one that they didn't have to put, would it be less?
No, so in this one, listing it only means that they're saying that this is somebody they're going to use on the project. The cost for that is included regardless.
Okay. That's right.
That's a line item that was included. It wasn't excluded from any bid.
That's-
So it was a competitive bid across
Okay.
the board.
Very good. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Otherwise, I need a motion and a second, please.
I'll make the motion.
No second.
You have a motion by Councilmember Alvarado, second by Mayor Pro Tem Olvera. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Prout,
Yes.
Olvera,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Gibbons.
Yes. All right. Moving on to the next item. Item number 4 is the real property for right-of-way purposes for Highway 43 and Santa Fe Way Roundabout Project. Hello, Mike.
Hello again. Michael James, Director of Public Works, Honorable Mayor, members of the Shafter City Council. Work continues on the city's pre-construction obligations for the planned roundabout at Highway 43 and Santa Fe Way. Among the ongoing work is the acquisition of new right-of-way as specified in the design being prepared by Caltrans. With the assistance of a consultant, staff has been working with multiple property owners for the acquisitions. Among the listed owners is V Lions Holdings, who specifically owns 3 parcels that are impacted by this project. The value of the acquisitions within these parcels, as proposed in an appraisal prepared by the city's consultant, is $945,700. This amount was rejected by the owner, who later obtained a secondary independent appraisal valued at $1,149,700. In that independent appraisal, there is citing the need to address impacts to agricultural operations, tree loss, irrigation system relocation, et cetera. To cover this amount, plus the cost of the independent appraisal and closing costs, our consultant recommends proceeding with that counteroffer and a total purchase price of $1,165,000. While ag-related considerations are not included in the original city appraisal, accepting that proposal, accepting the consultant's recommendation will enable us to proceed without accruing additional legal or consultant costs, and we can proceed with the acquisition of this particular parcel. Further, completing this transaction with this owner will leave us with one remaining transaction, which staff should have before you at your next meeting. Tonight's recommended action is authorizing a purchase of right-of-way as included in the parcels listed in the staff report from the one owner, B Lions Holdings, for a total purchase price of $1,165,000. And budget action is not required because there is sufficient funding in the capital improvement program to proceed with this purchase. And with that, I can address questions or concerns.
All right, council, questions, comments, or concerns? And if hearing none or having none, I need a motion and a second to carry, please.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Proud, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Olvera. Roll call vote.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Prout,
Yes.
Olvera,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Givens.
Yes. Item number 5 is the Beach Avenue Roundabout Project Closure Mitigation Capital Improvement Project Authorization. It's a lot of words in that moment.
I tried.
Yeah, thank you.
Honorable Mayor, members of the Shaft City Council, at your July 15th meeting, your most recent meeting, the council authorized proceeding with the closure of the Beach Avenue connection to the intersection of Highway 43 and Santa Fe Way once the roundabout construction starts. To help mitigate the loss of the beach closure, several street improvement projects can and should be completed, some of which are covered in an existing settlement agreement with the High Speed Rail Authority, which include traffic signals at Laredo Golds, Laredo Cherry, and extending Golds Avenue to East Ash Avenue, and improving existing stretches of Los Angeles and Cherry. Additional mitigation work not covered in the settlement agreement includes intersection improvements at Santa Fe Way and Cherry, which we discussed at your last meeting. We've actually phased them, as you may recall, the first phase potentially being an always stop that we could construct this year, and a traffic signal, which would probably take at least a couple of years to complete. The settlement agreement doesn't appear to explicitly state that preemptive mitigation work is reimbursable, but staff is working to get that commitment from the High Speed Rail Authority right now. Regardless of how High Speed Rail is ultimately funded, if it continues, there is some risk proceeding with the mitigation work covered without confirmation that this will be reimbursable. But in the case of some of these projects, we feel this is worth the risk. As you may recall, at your last meeting, we provided you with the preliminary estimate of $500,000 that can be funded with transportation impact fee proceeds to complete what we're deeming as the high priority work, which is designing all the improvements, installing the signal at Laredo and Cherry, and completing the always stop at Santa Fe and Cherry. Tonight, we're asking to appropriate this amount into the capital improvement program so we can proceed with the mitigation work. If approved, staff would likely start the process of recruiting an engineer to complete the design work. And an award recommendation for this design work would likely be brought before you within the next 60 days. And within that same time frame, we're hoping to have a determination from the High Speed Rail Authority on whether or not all of that mitigation work is reimbursable. With that, that concludes the presentation.
Okay, council, questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, seeing none. I'm looking for a motion and a second to carry, please.
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Olvera, second by Councilmember Alvarado. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Prout,
Yes.
Olvera.
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
And Given.
Yes. Item number 6, the council policy regarding notification of critical incident actions involving Shafter Police Department discussions. Sir.
Yes, so, council, this one is it's actually my item. So, so currently it's the practice of the city manager's office to provide council with immediate notifications of events concerning Shafter Police Department when there's fatalities, grievous bodily harm, or potential for significant ongoing threat to the public. Additionally, the Shafter Police Department reports out, both monthly, yearly, quarterly, and other statistics to the public to make sure that they remain up to date with what is going on in the city. Not only that, but they also have civilian RIMS, which is updated as frequently as 10 minutes after an incident, which means any member or resident of the city of Shafter can go on there. They can check out an incident and see what's publicly available. Mayor Givens directed that this item be brought for some discussion by council on changing that current notification policy to something different. There wasn't current or previously a formal policy by the city council, which is a great opportunity to discuss and provide direction. Here for any questions.
So for background, one of the reasons I'm asking the question, there have been a few incidents recently that I feel like we didn't have knowledge on. And unfortunately, you're not the first call that residents tend to make. It's normally one of the 5 of us. And I'm not really a big fan of being blindsided, albeit we are not interested, at least I can speak for myself, I'm not interested in knowing private, confidential, classified information. But just having a little bit of a warning, I think there's the question on what deems where that warning should take place. I do understand that there's a lot of things that take place throughout the month. We see the reports for activity in police. We see the reports for activity in fire. And so I do understand there's a lot of things that take place, but there are some items that feel like they're a little bit higher priority that I would like to at least have some information on, or at least be notified, hey, potential issue happening here, just a heads up. Nothing more than that. And frankly, a lot of them that I've heard about happen in public spaces. Parks being one of them. Manor Park was the most recent one. And those are the ones I would like to just have a little bit of knowledge on. But to what degree you're wanting to give or allowing to give, whatever the case may be, pick the right words here. That's where I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. That's the only reason I brought it up. How you proceed with that and what that looks like, I don't know. I just want to make sure that we're all at least notified on some of these items.
I believe we do get those notifications. I mean, if one does get slipped up, it just gets slipped up, but I don't think we need to have anything in a formal policy. I think what we get has certainly been great, and I don't know that we need to ask staff to use more of their time when you want something immediately. Especially, and I don't use RIMS, and I probably should. I have that marked now, and I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't just open it up and you can see things there before staff can get it out to us, but I think we're fine with what we have.
What is the major difference between what we're doing and what has been suggested, man?
So may I divulge a little on it? So I had a few calls from some concerned citizens in the Manor Park area for potential shooting that had taken place. Whether it was through accident or through purpose, I don't really care at that aspect of it, but there were concerns on, hey, is this something active happening in this moment? Is there not? We have, obviously there's a lot of kids who are out in that area. And so it was one of those, I don't know what I don't know conversations, and which is when I reached out to him. And I think the conversation we had was, well, potential investigation, but we left it at that, which is fine. And that's where I don't know to what level our conversation takes place. And I'm not looking for policy on that. I'm not looking to have some other, I'm just trying to make sure that I'm on the same page with everybody. Are we asking for more information than we should be, or?
But sometimes when something happens and a person asks you, all you need to do is say, well, let me check into it and get back to them. Because that has happened in the past, I agree.
Yes.
So, that's always open. And anytime we get a message from staff, it tells you if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, feel free to call. So I don't think we need to have anything any different from what we've been doing. Matter of fact, I get an awful lot of information today than what I did even 5 years ago. I mean, it's there and we all get it.
I think our information flow within the last decade has increased tremendously. I will not disagree with that one bit. I will not disagree with that one bit.
So,
So I don't think we need to change.
city manager, right now, it's at your discretion as to what you're reporting and, or not reporting, or as it's reported to you?
So right now, I provide non-confidential information and I provide you guys updates specifically to those incidents where there is, you know, a fatality, an ongoing public threat or something of that nature. The incident that we're discussing is an incident that's currently under investigation. So we would not talk any more than what's been out there publicly available. The hard part is realistically, it's going to be me just reading off what Citizen RIMS has for you guys. All it is in this instance would be an additional step for me to call each of you personally and update you guys. I do that now, especially on the high profile events. I know the train incident was one of the big ones. But not all of these events rise to that level. And the big concern I have is, because we are not a news agency, we are a public government. The more information we put out, it can cause some risk. And my priority on this is the officers and the investigation so that we can get the results on it. But that being said, if you guys would like me to call you guys when these happen and notify you, I'm happy to do that. Alternatively, I know there are several of you that will call me and just ask, and I'm always available to explain as much as I can.
That text button goes late. I know it does.
Yeah.
Me personally, when I get the phone call, about an issue or an event or something and I don't know, I refer them to you anyway. So, I direct them to you. And then, Marco, can we get into trouble by putting out information ahead of time or ahead of investigations or before we know for sure?
Yes, you can.
The staff report notes that there are some things that we cannot divulge. And so, if we were to divulge confidential information that's currently under investigation, we could, but that's not what's going on here, though.
Correct.
And I don't get the sense that that's the information that you want. You don't want confidential information. You just want the heads up of an incident that has occurred. The question I think that Lance is asking is, okay, what's the threshold?
Right.
What is it? Is it right now? It might be here, but do you want the level to drop down to here? Because then that obviously creates an administrative burden on Lance and his staff. But nevertheless, it is possible to give you, that level. But it really is a policy call on your part as to what it is that you want. If you're happy with what you have right now, then that's fine.
Just my go ahead, sorry. I didn't know if you were done.
Just one follow-up question. Thank you. Yes, how much time does this take out of what everything else that you're doing?
So that's usually the big concern is typically when I make these calls to you guys, I try and keep them in text because it limits the time spent on it. But between Randy and I, or excuse me, between the chief and I, usually back and forth, I'll probably spend 10 to 20 minutes with each of you guys on an issue, depending on the seriousness of the issue. So, because there are 5 of you, that could take an hour and a half-ish. And that depends on what questions come back and everything else.
Okay, thank you.
My comment is, I think, the guideline you have is adequate. I mean, the information that flows pretty well. I receive the notifications and typically respond, thank you, and, that type of thing. But I think with the incident in question it's a shooting, right? And shootings are not common within the city, with the exception of the fireworks that get, confused as potential shootings. I think that could potentially be something that could be added. Now, whether it's friendly fire, right, or something that happened that was by accidental discharge and things of that nature, it doesn't have to be in detail. But because it was close to a park, I think the concerns will rise to that level because of the community or the citizens that live around there. And I think that's what creates the issue, because then the phone calls do begin, or the text messages, or the comments on social media and that type of thing. So no need to know who did it or anything, but it's like, hey, this happened. They're investigating, and that's it. Minor injuries, whatever it is, the basics. I think that would be adequate. in my mind.
Personally, I have zero, you know that, I have zero problem texting you at 12 o'clock at night. I don't have a problem with that. And I'll continue to do that regardless. The problem I see in doing that is if I'm obtaining information of that nature and I'm giving it to you, I would rather you control the narrative and not coming from one of us, because theoretically, once that happens, if it's to that level, that degree, you're kind of sharing a situation with everyone else anyway. And that's the only reason I'm saying it from that perspective is, if it's coming from us, we have the narrative. If it's coming from you, you have the narrative. And I feel like you have a better control over that than what we should have. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, and I will tell you guys that the hard part with this one is, and we see this a lot in cities, is typically elected members want to know kind of what's going on. Because then it gives them an ability to get it out to their friends and family and stuff like that. And that works. The problem is it's like the Mantle incident. It's been called a shooting. I've heard so many stories and rumors out in the public right now. And frankly, we need to let PD finish the job of investigating it before we really go out and start talking to people and everything else, because that's the big concern at this point. But you guys let me know. I know in the past that city managers provided you guys with unattended death notices. I've asked PD to stop telling me about unattended deaths unless there are issues, because frankly, people die every day. And it's not necessarily in the public interest for me to have my time going that way. But you guys designate it. So if it's shooting or discharge of a firearm, then we'll set it at that level.
I'm good to maintain the way we are as well. I have
I
zero
just,
problem
I
with
just
that.
wanna, I've been here for a little while, so you're the fourth manager I worked with, so, every time you send a text, I don't reply back. I don't question you. I don't take your time, and I don't text you during the weekends if I don't have to, which I don't.
Thank you, sir.
So,
What are you saying?
I don't do midnight.
uh,
I don't do after 9 o'clock.
so the information that you give out is sufficient. It's not that I want to know who, what, why, where, and when. I don't, but just in general. In my past experience, we had SWAT team come out, middle of the night, 1 o'clock in the morning. Officer involved shooting. It just heads up. Not that we want to know who the officer is. We don't know what house it's going to, but at least we know it's happening in our own backyard. Small town, everybody talks. Matter of fact, a lot of stuff that we say is confidential. People already know everything that's supposed to be confidential. So, because it's a small town. So to me, it's as a council member, it's good to know more or less just in general, not detail. Not that we wanted to try solve the case. No, we just want just heads up. That's all.
General consensus sounds remaining as is. That's what I'm hearing.
We will keep it as is.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
However, I would say, again, you guys ever have questions, call me. I will answer late at night, as Chad can attest.
I'll call you.
All right, item number 7 is the request for support from City of Huntington Beach opposing the state mandated regional housing needs assessment or RHNA requirements. And I am looking to Marco. Hi, sir. This is rare, by the way. This is nice.
That I do a staff report?
Yeah, I like this. All right.
I just did one for the protocols, actually. Mayor and Council, we recently received a request from the City of Huntington Beach to provide amicus support in their challenge to the state of California's housing requirements. Amicus support is basically the filing of a brief called a friend of the court brief that would augment the City of Huntington Beach's position. In March of 2023, Huntington Beach filed a federal lawsuit against the state of California, seeking a determination that California charter cities, it only applies to charter cities, can challenge the applicability of housing laws mandated by the state under federal law. In November of 23, the state's motion to dismiss that lawsuit was granted by a trial court, and Huntington Beach appealed. In October of 2024, a 3-judge panel of the Ninth Circuit considered Huntington Beach's appeal and denied their request. There was also the Ninth Circuit also declined to rehear the case. Huntington Beach is now pursuing a petition to have the matter heard by the United States Supreme Court. And they will be filing their own petition, but they have asked other charter cities throughout the state to consider filing an amicus brief. Now, our recommendation isn't that Shafter take on the burden of filing a brief. Basically, creating, doing the research and filing the brief on the city's behalf would run you between 15 to perhaps $30,000 in some of the more complicated cases. So that's not what we're suggesting. But there is an opportunity at times when, for example, a larger city might file a brief for you to join them as a named entity to show your support. So what we are asking is whether the council has interest in at least lending your name to one of those efforts should they come to fruition. We're not suggesting that Shafter tell Huntington Beach that, yeah, we will file an amicus brief because, as I mentioned, that will cost you between $20,000 to $35,000. But simply lending your name or providing a letter of support, that is certainly something that you can do.
So, and be aware, some of the questions or some of the challenges that Huntington Beach has brought forward are popping up locally here as well. We just had a meeting with the planning commissioner, the head of the planning commission today to talk about one of the projects that would fall under this type of question, which is one of the low-income housing projects. So there is some potential nexus between the city's issues and Huntington Beach.
And that would just include having our name used, using the city name.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and I think there's a lot of dissatisfaction as to the requirements of the RENA numbers, yeah. So I mean, I don't see a negative on that.
Yeah, it just depends on whether somebody else takes the laboring oar on
Mm-hmm.
drafting and filing the amicus brief. Again, we're not suggesting the Shafter be the body. I suspect that it could be one of the larger cities, perhaps one of the local city organizations. I don't know that the league would do it, but maybe one of the others might take that on. But if those efforts are going to go on, then at least we've got the authority to tell them that Shafter would be in support.
I don't feel like the league's going to be willing to step up to the plate and actually go against this. I feel like they've got too much writing to support the state and not argue against it. So I don't see them coming out.
Yeah, and again, this is only a battle dealing with charter cities.
How many charter cities in California do we know? Somewhat close approximation,
Well, I don't know that either.
50?
That's in there.
So
But they've been dealing with this already for almost 2 years. So, yeah.
AIO review says 121. So
I believe in Kern County, there are 2. Us in Bakersfield, is there a third?
Mm-mm.
Delena's not a charter city.
No,
No.
I believe there are only 2 in Kern County. Some statistical information that nobody really wanted to know. So it's just, it's a message that we received, I think last week is when I forwarded off to you guys. I'd like to know where council stands on this. This is,
I don't have a problem putting the city name on it because we've had concerns about the RENA numbers.
we also have a situation that'll be rising up here in the
Mhm.
course of the next month, and that could be used as a negative valuation to what we're talking about. So
Mhm.
any other questions or comments in regard to this? Is everyone got a general consensus in saying, yeah, they're okay to put their name on this? I mean, I don't really want to sign it unless we're all in
I
agreement
just don't
here.
know the full impact. That's the only thing I don't know. I'm trying to grab the.
Well, it's supporting this other city that's
Right.
doing all the legal stuff on it.
Right.
Yeah, but
It's their lawsuit. It's Huntington Beach's
yeah,
lawsuit.
but we're just holding, we're just supporting,
We're just supporting their
supporting
lawsuit.
them.
Yeah.
But in return.
We're not filing our own brief.
No, but in return, what's the return?
They make some adjustments with it.
It puts support behind it. It shows that the city of Shafter is experiencing the same issues. It can help kind of, a lot of times it's helped spread the burden of support, and it brings in new electeds and everything else like that. You're talking about additional districts.
Are there other cities that are supporting Huntington Beach right now?
It's too soon to tell because the request just came in late last week, as a matter of fact.
How soon do they need this or an answer by? Did they indicate that?
I thought it was by the 20th of this month.
Yeah. And that's going to be tight for anybody to draft an amicus brief on their behalf. So it may be that even though you decide to lend your name, there isn't anything to lend your name to.
Well, what,
20.
Yeah.
okay, so you could agree to do it today and it may not even happen, huh? Mm-hmm. That's okay.
I don't think this is a conversation we'd push off just because of the timing. We need to be in a consensus here as a council.
I have questions, but I don't. No, I would have to talk to you directly about that. Marco.
I would say this to your comment. I think there's definitely some questions to ask in regards to what does that mean for us? To me, I kind of use the term, it's a shot across the bow, right? There may be no negative implications from it, and there may be, but it does put your name behind one side or the other through this process.
And you-
Whether it does get filed or doesn't
Yeah.
get filed, it does show where you lend your support.
I don't mind them using our name, but I just don't know. I don't want it to haunt us later in the future. That's my problem.
You can also take a position where you provide them, you determine that you're in support, but you're not going to be a part of any amicus action.
For instance, let me give you an example. On the one project that we're talking about, they want to bring in a 3-story
But
apartment.
I
We don't even allow that in our own,
I know, but
Chapter.
that's not today to discuss that today or.
no,
right?
but
So
that is part of this whole RENA deal.
that's why I'm saying I don't want it to bite us later down the road.
But I don't want to see us do a 3.
Hold on.
There's
That-
discussion for that.
Wait. Because you're right. That is not part of the conversation for the day, nor is that depicted or directed by RENA to make the determination on apartment complexes or not. I think right now we just need to ask the question is, we should have, council, you guys should have a very clear understanding of what RENA is and where do we fall as far as the support for or against what they're dictating we can do with housing as a whole.
Council, and I apologize, just to clarify, the subject of the brief would be whether or not charter cities have standing to sue
Yeah.
the state of California, as we are a political subdivision, which the district and court of appeals have said that, that cities do not have the ability because our authority is derived from the state to then sue the state on these issues.
It's the main question is local control, right?
Right.
I mean, they're trying to force us to go down one way and Huntington Beach is standing up against that and they're looking for support.
Yes.
I know the ramifications that you're talking about, if it comes around and boomerangs on us later, you know, then it puts a bullseye, it could put a bullseye on the city as saying, well, Shafter is with Huntington Beach and we need to step on them. You know, but the other thing too is, I mean, I can see where Huntington Beach is making a stand and just asking for people to help out, you know, with a letter of support. So, I like the idea myself.
I do.
I got one. You okay with it? You're questioning it. All right. You're in the same boat?
Yeah,
Okay.
but there's 3, so. we'll-
Yeah.
Just-
If I have two kind of in the middle on it, I'll take the stand and I agree. I think I don't mind sitting behind the backside of this and launching a grenade across the room and seeing what happens next. So yeah, by all means, put our name on it.
Oh, it's a letter of support. It's not a grenade.
I had to have something to say there, you know?
RPG.
Yeah. By all means, then yes, we'll draft a letter of support for Huntington Beach, please. Thank you. And thank you for putting this on the docket so quickly. I know it came to us late. I just felt like this is something that council should have conversation about and not just either pass it by or, you know, put something out there.
Because I've been reading about this for a while, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, we all
Huntington
have.
Beach has been holding the line for a long time. Cause I mean, I get personal letters asking me to put my name to it.
Right. Do we need to have a formal vote on that or just thumbs up is okay?
No.
Yeah, you have a general consensus to proceed forward. Okay. Thank you very much. That ends our management report items for this evening. City manager comments and reports. I like this part.
No comments, no report.
And director department comments and reports.
No comments reports.
That's why I like that part. All right, with that said, we're going to move into recess. We have one item on our closed session docket. It is the conference with legal counsel for significant exposure to litigation. With that said, moving into recess, I need a motion in a second.
No motion.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilmember Espinoza, second by Mayor Pro Tem Olvera. All those in favor with aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Hearing none, we are in recess, 7:44 PM. All right, we are back from our closed session, looking to our city attorney to close us out, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Earlier tonight, City Council recessed in a closed session. The item listed is conference with legal counsel, significant exposure to litigation. One potential case with respect to that item, City Council heard a presentation from legal counsel and provided an update on that matter, and we have no reportable action.
Okay, with that said, nothing left on the docket and a motion and a second to dismiss.
I'll make the motion.
Well, second.
This motion by Mayor Pro Rivera, second by Councilmember Espinoza. All those in favor with aye.
Aye.
Sign opposed, hearing none, dismissed at 7:58 PM because I caught that at the 59.